In this video, we're diving into the chart of accounts in QuickBooks Online, one of the most important steps when setting up your aviation business. First, I'll show you how to add accounts to the default chart of accounts. Then, if the default setup doesn't fit your needs, I'll walk you through how to remove as many of the default accounts as QuickBooks allows, and then import a customized chart of accounts from a spreadsheet. Importing a spreadsheet makes this task much easier than entering each account manually. I'll be using my fictitious company, SkyTrails Aero Services, as our example throughout. Hi, I'm Catherine Silverio, owner of Silver Bullet Bookkeeping, and I help aviation business owners streamline their finances using QuickBooks Online. With years of experience working in the airline industry and a family background in aviation, I understand the unique financial and operational needs of aviation businesses. Let's jump in. There's a couple of different ways that you can get into the chart of accounts, and I'll show you both ways. If you hover over transactions on the left panel, for some of you, it'll say accounting. You will see the chart of accounts show up in the drop-down menu. You can click there, or you can click on the gear icon on the top right, and then click on Chart of Accounts right there under your company. Once you're on the Chart of Accounts page, let's take a quick tour of what you'll see. If you click the gear icon, which is here, not this one, you'll find the account number, type, detail type, QuickBooks balance, and the bank balance. The bank balance shows the current balance reported by your bank, while the QuickBooks balance reflects the balance recorded in QuickBooks. They may differ because our fictitious company, SkyTrails Aero Services, uses accrual accounting, meaning it records income and expenses when they're earned or incurred, not necessarily when money moves in or out of your bank. Below that, you'll see a checkbox to include inactive accounts. Checking this will show accounts you've made inactive in the past. Show account type badges. These badges, right here, quickly tell you whether an account affects your balance sheet or your profit and loss report. It's a handy visual cue to help you understand what kind of financial data the account belongs to. I don't need to see the bank balance and the include inactive columns. In the main table, each row represents an account with several important columns. Number. This is the account number, which helps keep your chart of accounts organized. Name. That's the account's name. Account type. This groups accounts into categories like asset, income, or expense and determines where they appear in reports. Detail type. This provides more specific classification within the account type, like buildings, land, vehicles. Action. Here you can view register to see all transactions for that account. Edit to make changes. Make inactive if you want to hide the account. Or run report to see detailed financial data for that account. Let's see how many account names the default has. Okay, it has 144 account names. For my example company, SkyTrails Aero Services, which offers flight training, aerial tours, and aircraft maintenance, I'll show you how to add accounts like an asset account, an income account, and an expense account to the default chart of accounts in QuickBooks Online. On the chart of accounts page, click the green New button in the top right corner. This opens a form where you'll enter the details for the new account. First, let's add an asset account. Name this account Flight School Petty Cash. This is where small cash transactions for the flight school will be tracked. Set the account number to 1010. For the account type, select Bank. For the detail type, choose Cash on Hand. Click Save and New. Now let's add an income account. Name this account Aerial Tours Revenue. This will track money earned from our tour flights. Set the account number to 4100. For account type, select Income. Choose Sales of Product Income as the detail type, then click Save and New. Finally, let's add an expense account. Name this account Aircraft Maintenance Supplies for expenses related to parts and supplies for maintenance work. Set the account number to 5200. Select Expenses as the account type. Pick Supplies and Materials, Expense for the detail type. Click Save. Let's go find them in the search bar by account number. 1010. There it is. 4100. There it is. Now let's search for that new expense account by name. Aircraft Maintenance Supplies. There it is. Okay, now that we've covered how to add accounts, let's talk about what to do if the default chart of accounts doesn't fit your aviation business needs. First, I'll show you how to remove, or more accurately, make inactive as many of the default accounts as QuickBooks allows. QuickBooks doesn't really let you delete accounts, but you can make many of them inactive so they don't clutter your list or reports. Now, instead of deactivating accounts one by one, QuickBooks Online has a handy batch action feature that lets you make multiple accounts inactive all at once, saving you a ton of time. So here's how to do it. On the Chart of Accounts page, check the boxes next to all the default accounts you want to remove. If you want to select them all, click the box at the very top of the list. Let's see what QuickBooks will allow. But let's unclick 1010, 4100, and 5200. Let's go find them. Once your accounts are selected, click on the Batch Actions drop-down at the top, then choose Make Inactive. QuickBooks will ask you to confirm the action. In just one step, all the selected accounts will be made inactive. This helps clean up your chart of accounts quickly so you can then import your customized list without clutter. Click Make Inactive to proceed. There are a few that QuickBooks won't allow you to deactivate. No need to worry. There are several reasons why some accounts can't be made inactive. They have a non-zero balance. They're one of the default accounts used in your chart of accounts. They're being used in an automated workflow. So just deactivate as many accounts as you can and leave the rest as they are. That's perfectly normal. Hit Got It. After the batch action, QuickBooks will show a pop-up explaining why some accounts couldn't be deactivated. It's a helpful reminder, so take a moment to read it. When you're done, hit Close. Okay, so I have 15 accounts that are still showing in my chart of accounts. It might look a little different from what you see on your end. These are just the ones QuickBooks wouldn't let me deactivate. You might have more or maybe even fewer. It just depends. QuickBooks makes updates pretty often, so what it lets me do today might not be exactly the same as what it lets you do when you're going through it. So if it looks a little different, no worries. That's totally normal. Now that we've cleaned up the default chart of accounts, it's time to import a custom one that's tailored specifically for your aviation business. Okay, guys, if you're starting to feel like this is getting a bit overwhelming, or if you'd rather spend your time focusing on running your aviation business instead of wrestling with bookkeeping, no worries. I'm here to help. Feel free to call, text, or email me anytime to schedule a free discovery call. We'll chat about how I can take care of your books so you can focus on flying high with your business. Okay, so here's what my spreadsheet looks like. Each row represents an account, and each column contains the account number. That's for structure and reporting. The account name. This needs to be clear and descriptive. The type tells QuickBooks how to classify the account. The detail type is a more specific label within each account type. Guys, this is the minimum structure QuickBooks needs to complete the import. But before we do that, let me explain how account numbers work and how I've structured this spreadsheet to keep things organized. In accounting, account numbers help you sort and group your accounts logically. They also make reporting, searching, and filtering easier, especially when your chart gets long. Here's a quick breakdown of how account numbers are typically grouped. Numbers in the thousands are used for assets like cash, receivables, aircraft and equipment, hangar building. The 2000s are for liabilities like credit cards, notes payables, and loans. 3000s represent equity. That would be owner's equity, contributions, owner's draws, if that's how you pay yourself. Then you've got the 4000s, which are used for income, like aircraft revenue and aircraft maintenance revenue. 5000s are for cost of goods sold. So let me explain this a bit further. You see, in aviation, COGS covers the direct costs of providing aviation services or selling aviation-related products. Basically, these are the expenses that go up when you fly more or sell more. Here are two examples of COGS in aviation. Instructor wages. This is the direct labor cost for flight training. More students flying means more hours instructors are working and getting paid for. Fuel and oil. These are classical variable costs. The more your aircraft flies on revenue generating trips, the more fuel and oil you'll use. So what's not considered COGS? Hangar rent. This is a fixed cost. It doesn't change whether your aircraft flies or sits on the ground. Office expenses, things like rent, utilities, and admin supplies don't scale with flight hours or sales volume, so they're not part of COGS. Okay, moving along. 6000s are for operating expenses like rent, insurance, and wages. 7000s are for other income like interest income or dividends. And finally, 8000s are for other expenses like aircraft depreciation, penalties, amortization. In my spreadsheet, I've color-coded these account ranges to help visually separate categories like green for assets, gray liabilities, blue for equity, sky blue for income, orange for COGS, red for expenses, light green for other income, and purple for other expenses. Of course, the color coding is optional, but it's a great way to keep things clear when you're building or reviewing the chart of accounts in Excel. If you'd like to use the same format I'm working with or just need a starting point, I've included a link to the Excel template down in the description below. You can download it, customize it for your own aviation business, and use it to import directly into QuickBooks Online. We're going to import the spreadsheet directly from the Chart of Accounts page. Here's how to do it. From the Chart of Accounts screen, click the arrow next to the green New button in the top right. Then from the drop-down, choose Import. QuickBooks allows you to upload a CSV file, a Google Sheet, or an Excel file. In this walkthrough, we're uploading an Excel file. Click Browse and upload your Excel file. Click Next. Once the file is uploaded, QuickBooks will take you to the mapping screen. Now, this is important. Make sure each column in your spreadsheet is matched to the correct QuickBooks field. Account number, account number. Account name, name. Type, account type. Detail type, detail type. Okay, everything is matched correctly. Click Next to preview your accounts. QuickBooks is pretty good at reading your spreadsheet, but take a moment here to review. Check for typos, duplicate numbers, or anything that doesn't look right. Make sure there aren't any red squares or highlighted fields. If you see a red square, sometimes just deleting and retyping the same information will fix the problem. Also, if you'll remember, there were 15 accounts QuickBooks didn't make inactive for me. So if there are overlaps between what was left with QuickBooks and my spreadsheet, then they'll flag those. When you're ready, click Import. Just like that, your custom chart of accounts is now live in QuickBooks, organized, clean, and built specifically for your aviation business. If you found this helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. Now we're moving on to the next level, starting to put actual data into SkyTrails Aero Services. Here's to clear skies and clean books. This is Catherine signing off from Silver Bullet Bookkeeping.